Hello everyone, good day. My name is Venice and I am from Group 2 and we are going to re-investigate the journal of Stefan Bursley and Christian Klockner. The title of this one is Social Desirability in Environmental Psychology Research, 3 Meta-Analysis. First is we are going to identify the independent and dependent variables. Our independent variable is social desirability. So social desirability refers to a psychological construct that reflects an individual's tendency to respond or behave in a manner. So basically, social desirability can be considered as a variable that may influence or affect the independent variables. The dependent variables. So the dependent variables is pro-environmental behaviors, intentions, and attitudes.
So what are the statement of the problem of social desirability in environmental psychology research, 3 meta-analysis? So based on the independent and dependent variables, so here are the following statement of the problems. The first one is, does social desirability influence individuals' behaviors, intentions, and attitudes towards the environment? So in this statement of the problem, we will identify if there is an influence or relationship between these variables. In second statement of the problem, is there an association between social desirability and pro-environmental behaviors, intentions, and attitudes? In this second statement of the problem, we will try to identify if it is significantly associated between these pro-environmental dependent variables and the independent, which is the social desirability.
For our hypothesis, first one is there is a significant positive relationship between social desirability, pro-environmental behaviors, intentions, and attitudes. Next one is there is a significant association between social desirability and individuals, pro-environmental behaviors, intentions, and attitudes.
In the selection of the studies, the researchers examined the abstract of all publications found using the literature search strategies. The researchers will only keep those articles that could not be clearly or rejected based on the inclusion's conditions. They screened the abstract of all papers located via above search strategies, retaining those papers that could not be unequivocally excluded based on the inclusion criteria presented in inclusion criteria. The researchers identified and selected a total of 211 possibly relevant articles. The researchers reviewed the full text of all articles to see if they match the inclusion conditions, and according to the researchers, only 29 studies met the conditions.
For the methodology of this meta-analysis, the researchers followed and applied a criteria for them to select studies for inclusion in their meta-analysis. First criteria: the study had to be published in a scientific journal or in an edited book in English. Second, the study had to include at least one of the following measures: A. Environmentally relevant behavior, B. Environmentally relevant behavioral intention, C. Environmentally relevant attitudinal measure, broadly defined, which for their purposes encompasses specifically any of the following measures. First, environmental attitude. Second, environmental concern, environmental or ecological worldview, biospheric values, connectedness to nature, environmental identity. The researchers found 2 relevant studies that fall into this criteria. First is the new environmental paradigm. Next is the connectedness to nature scale, a measure of an individual's feeling in community with nature. The third criteria that the researchers used and followed is the study had to include a measure of social desirability. So this meta-analysis is all about social desirability. So it's very crucial to include studies that are about social desirability. Lastly, correlations between the respective environmentally relevant measures and the social desirability scale, along with associated sample size on which the correlations were based, had to be reported in the paper or be available upon request from the authors of the respective article. So those are the 4 criteria that the researchers used and followed as a guide for their meta-analysis, for choosing a study for their meta-analysis. So to find articles that might be relevant to the analysis, the researchers must first search for the terms like social, desirable, pro-environmental, and environmentally conscious in the web of the social database platform. So the researchers did this and they were able to find 19,141 potentially relevant papers just for searching those keywords. Next is scan the full text of papers published in the Journal of Environmental Psychology and Environmental and Behavior 2000 and 2019 and Frontiers in Psychology, Environmental Psychology 2016 to 2019, which they were able to discover 15 additional potentially relevant papers. Third is to use ancestry and descendancy search as a part of the research strategy. So they use this strategy in finding their references or their studies for their meta-analysis, which they had found 21 more potentially relevant articles. And lastly, the researchers include 11 prospective relevant papers previously known to the authors. So that's it for the methodology of this meta-analysis.
These are the findings for the meta-analysis of Group 2. Since the p-values for all associations are less than the conventional threshold of 0.05, indicating statistical significance, therefore, this suggests that there is a significant positive relationship between social desirability and pro-environmental behaviors, intentions, and attitudes. The second hypothesis, which states that social desirability is significantly associated with pro-environmental behaviors, intentions, and attitudes. The findings in Table 2 support this statement. The meta-analysis conducted on the relationship between social desirability and pro-environmental behaviors, intentions, and attitudes indicate that the impact of social desirability is minimal. The combined correlations with social desirability tend to be small, ranging from 0.06 to 0.11 or 0.08 to 0.13 when accounting for measurement error attenuation. However, this does not mean that environmental psychologists should overlook the issue of social desirability. These meta-analyses offer a reliable evaluation of the existing evidence regarding the effects of social desirability in environmental psychology. Although the effects are small, it is recommended to include social desirability scales as control variables in environmental psychology studies to enhance internal validity and gather more data that can potentially uncover subtle effects of social desirability.